Welcome to the Info Assault. My name is Thomas James Arelis Carpenter, and I have a story to tell you. Chapter 2 is going to attempt to answer a lot of questions for people who may be living in the gray areas of life, wondering which way is up. If anyone has ever told you that good and evil don't exist, chances are they aren't working for the interest of the former. Good and evil are defined semantically in many ways. Good and bad, right and wrong, angel and demon, saint and sinner, hero and villain, protagonist and antagonist. The list goes on, but the same basic ideals and principles apply throughout. This pervades into our notion of everything. We are taught about things like Superman, Power Rangers, things like Santa Claus and Pinocchio, knowing they're just stories, but all stories had to come from somewhere. There's at least a grain of truth behind everything you hear. Now, I don't know about you, but somehow there was presents under my tree every Christmas morning, and teeth that were placed under pillows transformed into quarters. There was once great kingdoms, there was kings and queens, and white knights who defended fair maidens, just like there really was a guy named Jesus who was crucified. There's random acts of kindness, holding doors, please and thank you, basic manners. You respected your parents as they did theirs. There was truth, justice, common sense, family values, but we've been corrupted. Now, you might be thinking that you're not corrupted, you go to church, you donate to charities, you do community work regularly. You know, that's actually really awesome. If you can find a church that's loving and accepting, community work that's satisfying, and you feel your donations are aptly placed, I wish you the best of luck. Keep being a great person. There should really be more people like you. However, corruption runs deep these days, and critical thinking is necessary. There's a difference between sitting in a pew and inviting Jesus to be your personal Lord and Savior, just as there's a difference between donating $1 and donating your only dollar. But hold that thought a minute. There may be deceptively effective corruption amongst us. A wolf guarding the henhouse. This is a great time to go on a slight tangent from money and corruption to Donald Trump. What better link to Donald Trump is there but cash money? Money, the root of all evil. Have you ever heard that expression? What happens when you go to church, your priest or pastor or whoever tells you to hurt somebody because that's the law? What would you do if your charity donation gets used for political campaigns and that's legal? What happens if the President of the United States tells you, we are sending your child to fight war, to kill someone in a foreign country so we can take some oil? Would that upset you? Well, yes, of course that would upset you. Why wouldn't you be upset? Some of you are quite upset, and that's evidenced by you joining the group I Hate Donald Trump by tens of thousands. Maybe it's starting to become clear. Donald Trump is doing everything possible to be the most infuriatingly inflammatory public figure possible, spewing disinformation and discontent to further the agenda of splitting the opposition against itself. This is a classic divide and conquer strategy. The entire point of Donald Trump and his campaign is to make the rest of us disagree, and he succeeded. We aren't even sure what Hillary did. We don't all agree that Bernie would be a fantastic president. Reasonable, salt-of-the-earth, hard-working men and women across the world who simply are being misinformed. That's what led to this travesty known as Trump. The gaslighting campaign was successful, and the dissemination of confusion and displaced anger was fueled and directed at several different targets. People aren't sure what to agree on anymore, and the lies don't necessarily convince all of us, but that was never the point. Getting plausible lies spread widely enough to convince a population of devout believers that their ignorance is fact. That's perfectly acceptable. Now, what does ignorance and fact have to do with good and evil? Good question. To be honest, ignorance has nothing to do with good or evil by itself. The true evil is when people try to spread ignorance intentionally, thereby producing a distorted view of reality propagated by a living, breathing mouthpiece. This begins like a bait and switch, because you can't actually convince somebody to believe something that they know is false. You plant the idea, the seed of an idea, which is completely incorrect. Let the tendrils spread. Some people believe it, some don't, and that's the point. So the true evil isn't the people who believe the lies, it's the people telling the lies. Which is why I refuse to condemn ignorant Trump supporters for anything other than their own ignorance. We are all responsible for the accuracy of what we believe to the best of our ability. Meaning, they are good people who simply don't know any better, and that's the problem of good information versus evil ignorance. When good people believe evil people, you will never speak to somebody who will never speak to you. How many friends have you lost in the last 2 years? This is your freedom being taken away by Donald Trump. You're probably wondering how you can fix this. You're probably trying to be a good person. Well, stay tuned. I know there's many more questions, but just stay the course. I have many answers for you in Chapter 3 of the Info Assault. Until then, eat well, rest, consistently, pray, and smile at yourself in the mirror. From your administrator, Thomas James Arelis Carpenter.